So it continues to be really smoky here in the Bay Area, and I'm going to try to make the most of it. I'm not going to go riding outside. The particulate matter is measuring over 100 today, and so instead I'm going to do a trainer ride. So I'm going to see a little bit how I feel, but my general intention is to go and do a pretty high quality aerobic workout. I'm not going to be doing really intense like threshold or VO2 max intervals, but I wanted to do basically the equivalent of like sweet spot training, or just keeping a high endurance pace where I'll do a lot of stuff that's like comfortable, but kind of pushing the pace just a little bit, mixed with some tempo, and mostly stay at the high end of my aerobic range while staying almost exclusively below threshold. And I'll see how I feel. Maybe I'll throw in some short, intense efforts like some sprints, or sometimes I'll do some cadence work, focusing on like spinning at a high cadence, or focusing on pushing a big gear and doing like 60 to 70 RPM. I find that doing a mix of those things can slightly increase the quality of the riding that you're doing. I often find that if you do just a little bit of stuff to punctuate what would otherwise be a steady endurance session, can mix it up and help pass the time and make it more interesting and make it more productive than if you just rode steady for an hour and a half on the trainer. Personally, I would find that to be mind-numbing on a trainer that doesn't have like power and integration with a virtual world like Zwift or Road Grand Tour or any one of the other training platforms. But I find that even with a platform like that, doing a little bit of intensity and mixing that into what would otherwise be a steady endurance ride can make it more fun and interesting, just like it would out on the road. But I think it's really good to keep in mind that you want to stay focused on whatever your goals are and not just arbitrarily fall into making any workout just kind of a random hodgepodge of haphazard intervals. So for example, like right now I want to work on aerobic conditioning, and I would like to do more endurance stuff, but I don't really have the capacity for doing that with my schedule and with the smoke in the air currently. So today, I'll focus on maybe doing some like high aerobic stuff and some sweet spot training, and then I'll pair that with some of the strength work that I'm doing, and that way I'll have hopefully a pretty well-rounded program that will help build a foundation for higher intensity workouts later. That just means that like I'm not going to just randomly do a whole bunch of hard VO2 max intervals unless I decide on certain days that that's what I want to be doing. So even if I do maybe a few short efforts that are like kind of intense to have fun and to mix it up and to hit some of that intensity just on occasion, I'm not going to arbitrarily fall into doing just like really heavy workloads and certain intensities that are not my focus at that moment in time. And just like riding out on the road, just like riding throughout the season, like you might have different foci where you're like emphasizing different parts of your training at any given point in the year. It's not going to like totally ruin your whole training program to go out and do a few sprints in the middle of December just because that's fun and you're doing a group ride with your friends in a normal year. Or if your training's going really well in the springtime and you're getting ready for what you hope to be like a mid-season or like a midsummer peak, going hard and like trying to set a PR on one of your favorite training segments or one of your favorite climbs in April, you don't want to be doing that every week, and you don't want to be like challenging yourself to your maximum every week. But on occasion, mixing that in, it can be a nice way to check in on your fitness and be motivated to like go out and do something that's exciting to you. And if anything, like having your training be consistent and iterable and just like keep engaging in that process is crucial for long-term success. So within reason, anything that you can find that keeps things interesting and fun and keeps you engaged in the process can be worth it. So even if you give up like one or two workouts because you go out and you do a hard full gas effort on one of your favorite climbs every other month, mixing in some of that stuff that's just like little carrots that you can shoot for and little like mini goals throughout your training program, that can be really useful. So anyway, I'm gonna hop on my bike and get going. And as always, you'll notice I have my air purifier here because the air quality is terrible right now. I have some bottles just like I would want to have out on the road. I have a towel because I'm going to sweat a ton during this session, just like I always do on the trainer. So yeah, then I have my bike, and I have a couple of screens set up so I can maybe watch some kind of show and have Zwift running on another screen, or maybe find some music to listen to. Pretty much, whatever it is that you need to do to keep things interesting when you're on the trainer is probably worth doing, since you don't have the feedback of the road and all the things to look at. Definitely virtual worlds like Zwift can be really fun to train with. but also like listening to music, listening to podcasts, listening to a show that you like can be very useful. If you're trying to get the miles in, anything that helps you pass the time is going to be worthwhile. If you are trying to get a hard workout in, I would generally gravitate more towards paying attention to a virtual world where you're just getting the experience of riding and listening to music that you enjoy, hopefully like more upbeat music that'll give you energy. But definitely I find it really challenging and really distracting to try to listen to anything that has any kind of content where you have to be thinking about it and listening to it. So I wouldn't listen to podcasts or watch any kind of show or even watch races while you're doing a hard workout. If you want to use a race to inspire you to go hard, kind of like as you're watching it when people are attacking or people are going hard up climbs, and you want to mimic that in your training and just do like a multi-intensity workout on the trainer, using a race to watch that while you're training could be worthwhile. But otherwise, like if you have a focused workout that you're trying to do, just listen to music and focus on what you're trying to do and try to minimize distraction elsewhere so that you're not focusing on your effort and focusing on doing your workout, but then getting distracted by like listening to a podcast, listening to the news, listening to whatever show. Just try to keep it simple and try to do the best training that you can do. So I'm gonna try to get some miles in, try to keep a high average pace, try to keep it mostly kind of comfortable, but just slightly uncomfortable. And I think that's about it. I'm just gonna try to make the most out of a training day that's indoors and try to not let the fact that it's really smoky outside bother me too much. I don't know, I feel like it's okay to be bothered by things when they're objectively not the best, but I think it's also good to do the best that we can to make the most out of whatever circumstance we're in. And I definitely have found it really challenging to be inside 95% of the time over the last 2 months since the fire started here in California, but I think that that's the right call for me, being somebody that has sensitive lungs and has allergies and a low level of exercise-induced asthma. I don't want to go breathe a lot of smoke, make either of those things feel worse, or increase the chance that if I get sick with COVID or with the flu, that I might have a bad case of it. So I think I'm doing the thing that seems the wisest to me. Obviously, not everyone is in this situation. Not everyone lives in California. But I think always, as much as we're able to, we should make, the best choices to make the most out of our current situation. And in this case, I want to get some miles in and keep my strength work going a few times a week and try to build up a decent foundation for next year. Even if I would rather be out on the road training, I'm happy that I can be doing it inside and that I can maintain a decent degree of fitness, even though circumstances could be better. And definitely, just keep in mind, like everyone that you admire that is a successful athlete or successful at anything, but especially athletics, it's like the people that do the best are usually, talented and pursue whatever opportunities they have, but also they just put in a ton of hard work, and oftentimes they're just more willing to deal with the discomfort of training and deal with challenging circumstances and training when it's raining, training when they're stuck inside because of the weather or because of daylight or because of smoke. People that just put in all the miles are the ones that usually win races and do the best in the long run. And to a certain extent, it can be very satisfying to know that you're determined enough in doing like what's up to your standard of performance, and to not let external circumstances get in the way of you doing whatever you're aspiring to do. Anyway, I think that might be it for this video, and I hope to have some more stuff that's fun soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.
What is your favorite part?